Hi everyone. Today I would like to share with you actually a story that I've been asked to talk about. And actually, a few people asked me to talk about my transformation. And I thought I'm going to record about my book, Map of the Heart, and how the book starts, the introduction, my parents, me, my childhood. But actually, I'm going to record this story now because apparently it's relevant to people who are going through transformation. And as much as I'm thinking, oh, I've got to record step by step and have some structure, I've got to trust what people need. And here we are. So people ask me, how did I become aware, self-aware, to teach the workshops that I teach and to coach with that knowledge and awareness and deep inner analytical way of navigating through the human existence, if you want to call it. And I will share with you, 10 years ago, when I gave birth to my third child, I hit rock bottom. I went to therapy, I went to the GP, I went to the normal way. That's all I knew. And I was given antidepressants, which I refused to start. But eventually I started for probably 6 or 8 weeks. And it didn't work, and it's great it didn't work. Before I started the antidepressants, I wanted to read and understand what is happening with my mind and why I had so much fear. Therefore, I started doing it, but I didn't have the capacity because I was exhausted emotionally, physically, and mentally. Therefore, I had to start something that was easy and calm. I started yoga, restorative yoga, which is deep breathing and a posture and position way of feeling your body, being in your body, feeling safe where you are. And slowly through therapy, I started understanding what is actually happening here to the whole body, but that took 8.5 months. And each time I went to therapy, and that's the magic here, it's different for everybody, my therapist would give me a book and I will read the book, and through the book I will reflect something about myself. That's why I trust stories are the key to unlocking something in the other person. Books as well, because each book I've touched, I took it deeply into my heart, but the books came in the right time. So that's synchronicity. When you search and when you ask, you're given. Those books allowed me to understand what actually was going on. And it wasn't the everyday depression I had at that time. And I've never been depressed up to that point. And everyone labeled me depressed. And I was like, no, I'm not a depressed person. I'm going through something which makes me suffer, doubt, and question everything. And therefore, through the therapy and the books, I used the antidepressants for 6 to 8 weeks. It got unbearable. It got so bad that I was worse than when I started the medication. Therefore, I had to stop it, slowly cutting it down for 4 or 5 weeks. And I started breathing and understanding there is nothing wrong with me. The good part was that the antidepressant that I was prescribed was a wrong one for me, for my mind, for my body, for my soul, which is awesome. That's why it made me worse. That's why, another topic, we are not supposed to be prescribed antidepressants by the GP. The GP has 15 minutes to assess you, and they can't. They can't go to the root cause. They can't go back to your childhood. They're not therapists. But the effect of antidepressants is different on everyone. Therefore, you can't just trust that one will work for everyone or for majority. Well, that's what happened to me. It didn't work. I'm very grateful it didn't work, that I got worse and I got really depressed and really scared. I couldn't get up and leave the house pretty much. But I pushed and pushed because this is who I am. To a moment where the fear was so big that I said, no more antidepressants. I can deal with it myself. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to read more. I'm going to change things. I'm going to speak in a different way. No. It was very difficult. The right therapist, another right therapist, another right book. So the things came. Why? Probably because I really wanted to change, because I wanted to see the light in the tunnel. But that was just the beginning of a 10-year, very intense inner work. Still going, but it's not that intense. And the more I learned about what I suppressed through my life, and I had to unlearn who I was because I didn't like myself anymore. I didn't like the way I loved myself, if I did at the time. I didn't like the way people treated me, whether they were friends or loved ones, because I didn't allow myself to love myself. And the picture is quite big. I'm giving you just a small amount of it. Part of this journey made me in 2025, 6 years almost ago, to meditate for 6 hours a day. I went in the forest. I escaped every time I could have left the house. And remember, I have 3 children. Leaving the house and meditating for 6 hours was very restricted and very challenging. But to me, I was sitting with myself, even if I was sitting in my room with a diary, and writing what I was visualizing, what I was feeling and expressing, it was still a major thing. I felt good because I was getting to know who was Adriana at age of 5, at the age of 10, at the age of 12, 13. What did I go through? How did I act, feel, react, and respond to all of that? And how is it that I would like to be right now? That means I had to say goodbye to so many versions of me that were not serving me. I wasn't approving them. Therefore, those memories had to come. This was the purpose of those 6 hours a day of meditation. So that's the long story short. If you want to hear more of that, I can keep going. I can keep sharing. If this will help you understand more of yourself or feel not that alone in the journey of suffering, because we all suffer in one or another way. We go through hard times. And even last night I went out and someone said, I'm having a hard time. And I said, but the more you say you have a hard time, the more you attract more hard times. And this person said, yes, but this is what I'm going through. And I stopped and said, yeah, and that's great. And maybe you should sit in that for a while, for as long as it's needed. Who am I to say that they have to be positive? Who am I to say, stop suffering just because you have to grow out of it and learn? No one. I'm no one to say that, and I have no right. Therefore, they need to be where they are, and I have to respect them and support them. So I was quiet and just accepted what they're going through. And when they will change something, if they do, it's their choice, not my choice. What I could do in that space and what you could do for someone going through suffering and pain is to hold space for them. Not to tell them what to do, just to hold space for them. So that's part of the story. And those 6 hours of meditation led me to hear myself, my inner voice, to hear my heart whispering, to hear the nature speaking to me, the Creator revealing secrets to every bird, to every leaf, to the grass, to every living organism on this planet. It was a little bit freaky for the first 4 or 5 years. Then it became more smooth because I learned how to read Firstly, my science of my body, mind, and soul, then of the nature. And I started actually understanding that it is you who is responsible to listen. And it's your choice how much time you give yourself to listen to those signs, to the nature, to the voices, and to connect deeply with your inner self, with your soul. Then you can say no more to this, no more to this, and say yes to something else, whatever that is. And again, it takes time to break free from a habit or an old pattern. And that's what my journey was for the last 10 years. And as I said, it's just starting to become really peaceful and free. But it took 10 years. And I'm not saying there are not going to be ups and downs, because what is now shall pass. Don't be too excited about how good it is. Maybe be a bit more quiet. And when it's painful and hard, don't moan too much about it, because this shall pass as well. So our life is made of seasons. Enjoy every season of your life. But self-awareness is the key. That's why I desire to pass this knowledge to others. To learn who you are and to have the opportunity to change yourself is the most magical thing that can happen to you. So please ask me anything. What do you want me to share? What may resonate and help in your journey, so you don't feel that lonely or you don't feel discouraged to continue? I'm here. Ask me.